It's a huge honor to have with me Dr. Subhasree, someone whom I follow religiously on Twitter. I tend to gain a lot on a daily basis from her practical advice on fitness as well as diet and entirely holistic healing in more ways than one. Ma'am, wonderful to have you with me right now this evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Faridoon. It's an honor to be here with you because I see the kind of work you also do. And we share a lot in between us. We exchange ideas, and I love the interaction I have with you in Twitter Spaces and other Twitter, my Twitters as well. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my honor, ma'am. All right. So, I'll tell you something. Honestly, there's so many things that I've learned from you. One thing that I'll tell you upfront is, I tend to do my exercise regularly, but I recently saw a post from you that you can do planks in 5 minutes, and these are the 6 ways that you can do it. So I used to do like a regular plank. So since then, I've started doing that one, with that hand up, single hand plank that you had mentioned. So and I think it works brilliantly for me. And there's so many other things that you tend to mention. So, ma'am, how important is practicality in the way people pursue their fitness, their health, their diet?
Okay, so that's the $1 million question. And I was reading somewhere today that a doctor has posted, which I really liked most. He has posted that he's a cardiac surgeon. So he has posted that he has saved almost 150 lives by doing a cardiac transplant. But he could have been saved 150 million of people if he could have just taken a way to promote the preventive health, right? So preventive health here is extremely important when it comes to overall well-being. However, we are dependent on pills, but those are sick care. I'm not saying that we don't need medication. We need medication because there are, conditions where medicines are the answer. But we should be always striving to make sure that we are preventing the disorder. That is very important, because once you have a better, a worst metabolic health, particularly when it comes to, we know that India has a growing prevalence of diabetes type 2. So many young people are having heart attack in current time. So it's very important that we start understanding how to prevent those rather than taking a last time call and start making changes in our diet or in our physical activity. So I believe that it should be part of our lifestyle as soon as possible. And when we talk about holistic well-being, I always, like you said, that I always try to target everything else along with diet. So nutrition is my specialty, because only nutrition or dietary habit will not be able to provide you with a better lifestyle. You need good sleep, quality sleep. You need sound mental health. You cannot make someone who is suffering from anxiety to go to gym and do physical activity or eat healthy, because all the time his mind is just struggling to manage the anxiety, right? So that's why mental health is also very, very important. You should have a socially healthy life where you interact with your family, with your friends. You also ensure that you are eating healthy. So that is primary. All these things combiningly make sure that you are holistically healthy, you are having a better well-being than most of the people who do not practice all these things. So this is how our life rotates around holistic well-being.
All right, ma'am, before we go to, as we had decided, I think we can discuss so many things, and we'll have to space it out in maybe at least 2-3 sessions with you. So we're taking 3 health hacks today, and we discuss that. But before that, so you mentioned that you're a nutritionist. Now, so I was reading somewhere that a lot of people, they suffer from inflammation, and there are various diseases which are related to inflammation, like rheumatoid arthritis, for example. And inflammation can be tackled through diet. How true is that?
So there are different type of inflammation, for example. So when there is an inflammation of higher degree. For example, we were seeing something in COVID-19 severe cases, right? So, and also there are other form of severe inflammation that cannot be managed by diet alone. We need to be very, honest about that. But if you are having a healthful diet, then you can prevent the inflammation altogether. Okay, so that is the beauty of eating healthy. Now, inflammation is a term where your body develops a lot of free radicals when there is a lack of healthy nutrition. Also, our gut is very, very closely associated to chronic inflammation. I have written a series on gut health. The part one of that series, I reiterated the fact that how does our gut is connected to almost all kind of metabolic disorders. So our gut has a very, very delicate balance of harmful bacteria and healthy bacteria or friendly bacteria. This balance, along with the human cells, work synchronously to produce a healthy human body, or I would say that healthy human mind also. When this association or the balance gets disturbed, for example, if you're not feeding good food to the uh, good gut microbiota, to the microbiota that is ensuring that you are doing well, then the balance is disturbed, and that term is known as dysbiosis or the imbalance. In that condition, there are chronic inflammation, a low degree inflammation for sure that occurs, and also due to this inflammation, we have obesity, diabetes, type 2, and also irritable bowel disease is something that also occurs. So all these things happens because of the dysbiosis of this gut health. So keeping our gut health is mandatory, and to do that, having food that helps the gut health is important. So you see, nutrition is connected, right? So when we talk about anti-inflammatory food, rather than we can talk about, anti-inflammatory dietary pattern that helps the gut health. And the anti-inflammatory foods, of course, are colorful vegetables and fruits. You know why? Because when I talk about colors, right? For example, tomato is red in color. So the fruits and vegetables that we see that is red, but not apple, but red fruits, for example, raspberry, and also we have tomato here. So they're rich in antioxidant called lycopene, right? So these antioxidants help to reduce the inflammation. Also omega-3, also polyphenols, other plant nutrients, which are fantastic, ways. I mean, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, all the berries and whole fruits, vegetables like broccoli, okay, fatty fish, yogurt. These are the foods which can help you to maintain the balance in gut microbial culture. And so doing that, it can help you to reduce inflammation or altogether can prevent inflammation in our body. So that is the way we actually do that. Yeah.
All right, I think that's really amazing. So, Dr. Subhasree, as we had discussed, so let's discuss a few health hacks. Let's have 3 health hacks today. The first one, as you had mentioned, that we can discuss immunity boosting myths, because post-COVID, I don't think we can still say post-COVID, but since the onset of COVID, people have done almost anything and everything to boost their immunity. Health products, I think they are one of the biggest industry right now, which is absolutely baffling. So if you can please throw some light on immunity boosting myths.
Yeah, so I'll start this discussion by saying that, I went to Kolkata 4 or 5 months back, and I saw that somebody is selling an immunity boosting shondesh, that is mishti, right? The meeta. So you understand that even sweets were being sold in name of immunity boosting. Now, immunity boosting is a collective thing that it is a collective effort. I would say collective outcome of a long term healthy habits that include eating healthy, exercise regularly, sound sleep, all those holistic well-being, right? And it's a long-term procedure. A single food or a single supplementation cannot really boost your immunity, and definitely not overnight. So when we talk about immunity boosting, so definitely a single food or a single supplementation cannot boost your immunity, and definitely not by overnight. So depending on a particular supplement or a particular food to boost immunity is not something that's going to work. The worst part here, even the concerning part here, is that many people consumed a lot of kadha, or combination of herbs and whatnot, that even led to worst health outcome. I mean, I saw so many doctors. I mean, my medical doctors friends, they were telling me that okay, so Subhasree, they are coming with severe digestive disorder problem, so even vomiting at the same time. So many people have done that, and this thing happened. And why it's concerning, because most of the time dietary supplements do not go through a rigorous process of regulation, or randomized control trial like we see in case of drug. If you want to pass a drug, you have to go through a lot of process. You need to do studies, you need to produce your report to the authority, you need to get permission. But dietary supplementations don't have to do that. So they are just being sold in market as it is. That is where the problem, that is where the concern lies, that we really don't know that what are those products made of. And we don't ask the question that give us some study, show us some real study that this product actually helped. We don't want to do that. So we see an advertisement, we buy those, and we think that, okay, this will be helping. Actually, they don't, right? So that is why I think it's very important that, first of all, the consumer awareness when you are buying something, not only in case of immunity boosting, but also when something is, too rosy. For example, lose your weight in 2 days, okay, and in 1 hour you will be having this kind of inch loss. All these kind of things, that promise you a sudden or a faster result, needs to be come into under the microscope, and assess. You should assess better that why you are consuming something that doesn't have evidence or enough data. So yes, immunity boosting concept is a myth, particularly from a particular food or some supplementation. So that's really that doesn't work. Yeah.
All right. So Dr. Subhasree, you wanted to discuss gut health, but I think you've already talked about that. Should we take another topic that you had suggested?
I think let's talk about a little bit the gut health. We can also talk about even
Sure.
gut health and immunity is an important topic. And
Sure.
gut health is let's talk about gut health as third topic, because currently, in fact, when I was writing about gut health and immunity, so I saw a paper which is published in 2020 that explained how COVID-19 disease outcome even was associated to gut health. So now that is the latest area of research that we are doing, and it's fascinating. Why? Because 70% of your immunity is located in gut. Can you believe that? And people really have to have a lot of knowledge. And I believe that I will be working more on gut health, because it's an organism inside an organism. For example, you would be surprised to know that the number of bacterial cells or bacterial gene that is present in our gut is more or equivalent to the human cells. So practically we are half human, and half human cells and half gut microbiota. So imagine how important that network is for us. We cannot really ignore it, that because there are trillions and trillions of bacteria that are located in our gut, and they are playing a major role in everything. starting from anxiety to Alzheimer's, mental health, mood swings. For example, this is very, very common, right? So when we have a sad tummy, okay, an upset stomach, we are irritated. We don't like to do anything. Who likes to go on with their daily routine when there is a bad tummy, right? So you feel like, oh, I'm bloated, I'm not feeling better. So that is why your mood, your brain, and your gut health is also connected. So the spectrum is so wide that we think about, okay, I might have some bad food, it's just acidity, I will take an antacid and I will be fine. And they do not take care of the problem from the root. That is where the importance of gut health is so I would say it's matter of time that we start understanding that why this is so important. So it's like, these tiny creatures, they are present in your stomach, which is um, they are modulating everything. And if you are not feeding them a good diet or a right kind of environment, you're not providing them, your system will be crashing, okay, in no time. 90% of serotonin, that is happy hormone, right? So serotonin is a happy hormone, which is being released by the gut bacteria. So whether you are happy or not, the bacteria have a major say in that. Okay, so that is why, I thought of discussing this more, because we can't really just stop talking about it, and Faridoon, I mean, in India, most of the people don't even have the concept about gut microbiota. I mean, they just don't know that in our stomach, in our colon, there are lakhs and lakhs of bacteria present, right? So that is what I wanted to add here. Gut health is very important.
No, definitely. In fact, after reading your tweets, that is something that I've been following very, very religiously. I've added yogurt to my diet, and we make yogurt at our home. My daughter tends to makes it, or my wife makes it, and I have it both in lunch as well as dinner. So that is something that I've added to my diet very, very consciously. All right, and one more very interesting thing that you've constantly been talking about on Twitter is the relevance of making a balanced plate.
Yeah.
Because it's
Correct.
important to have that element of balance. So if you can please throw some light on how to make a balanced plate.
Right. So this is easier than we think. Most of the time people feel that a balanced diet, the term diet itself is a taboo. Okay, and the moment you have the term diet, people think that you will be restricted, you will not be given enough food to eat. So that is the culture that has been happened and going on. So when I say balanced plate, that means you should be having 3 macros. That is macronutrient, which we require most, that is carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Also, you should have food, those are containing vitamins and minerals. And in current time, as we see everything is associated to refined carbohydrate, we will be talking about that in some other session. Maybe the refined carbohydrate is something which requires an entire 10 minutes or 15 minutes of mine. So we have to now think about the type of carbohydrate that we eat. Until today, the balanced plate concept was you have to have 60 to 65% of carbohydrates, right? So the major portion was coming from the carbs. But considering the current prevalence of type 2 diabetes or obesity, insulin resistance, everything is coming back to the type of carbohydrate we eat. So in a balanced plate, you should have complex carbohydrate, that is more fiber containing food rather than something that makes your blood sugar shoot up very faster, or makes your insulin to be resistant. So when I say more fiber, right, so that will be low sugary whole fruits, for example guava, pears, peaches, then there will be avocado. These are the fruits that would be part of your better carbohydrate. Definitely, you should not have 65% of your energy coming from carbs. Let it, come down to 45%. So 45% of total carbs, total calorie when comes from carbohydrate, we call it a low carb diet. Then that is one part. Protein should be there in the balanced plate, which is majorly lacking in Indian diet scenario. So when I talk about even protein, take any protein you want, lean animal proteins, for example, chicken, egg, and please have whole eggs. Do not scare about the fat. That is the yolk part of it. So cholesterol is again another topic we will be discussing. So everything is a topic. So lean chicken, egg, and soya product, beans and legumes and pulses. These can be your food when it comes to protein. That should be mandatory in your diet, which is purely lacking in Indian dietary, plate. We don't really consume more protein. And then there will be healthy fats. Okay, for example, nuts and seeds, almond, walnut, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds. These would be your healthy fats. Also fatty fish, uh, that is salmon or basa, tilapia. These would be your plate. And then you have probiotic, that is, like you said, that yogurt or buttermilk. This would be one portion to make it complete. So when we do that, then that is a balanced plate. So what we are getting, better carbs, we are getting fiber, we are getting better protein, we are getting vitamins, minerals, and also we are getting um, protein, right? So that is the concept of balanced plate.
All right. So, Dr. Subhasree, as you rightly said, that every topic is a discussion in itself. So, I just had one question for you. You mentioned about eggs and the yolk element. People have this entire scare scare element
Yeah.
when it comes to yolks. So Dr. Subhasree, I tend to have two boiled eggs every day, and I remove one yolk in that. Is that okay to have one yolk and two egg whites?
See, according to studies, I mean, what I have explored so far. So I have written an article in Indian Express on dietary cholesterol and blood cholesterol. So the studies are saying that you can have two whole eggs per day safely. There is no problem in it. Even more, because see, eggs were not found to be associated with higher cholesterol. Trans fatty acid that we get from pizza, from outside food, from fried food, from ultra processed food, for example, instant noodles and all these uh, are more connected, I would say, associated with the worst outcome in blood cholesterol. So yes, ideally, two whole eggs are very good to go. You don't need to really remove yolk, trust me. Also, cholesterol, blood cholesterol, and dietary cholesterol are not connected. If you are someone who has a hypersensitivity, for example, you are having some, because everyone's body is different. So you are someone who has more susceptibility to the dietary cholesterol, you may have some effect. Eggs are found to be doing benefits in lowering the bad cholesterol. So I would recommend that we need to change these guidelines going forward, because there is no evidence found, right? And when there is no evidence, we can't say anything about it. So I have even written a whole thread on egg consumption, and there is no proof for it until today. I mean, even I've written an article, I could not find any evidence that egg would actually elevate the uh, cholesterol level. So that's it. I mean, just because the yolk contains cholesterol doesn't mean that we will be removing it, because it might not. So for example, do we remove nuts from our diet because it contains fat? No, right? Because we know this is healthy fat. So fat doesn't mean that it will be interacting with your body, right? So it's very complex, and we are still exploring. So until there is an evidence that says that a considerable body of evidence, not one evidence, that says that yes, eggs are literally bad for your cholesterol, I don't think that I would be recommending otherwise. So it's all evidence that I follow.
No, I think you've really cleared the path for me, because I've been removing one egg yolk for a very long time now, but now I think I'll go for it, because yeah, I think what you're saying in terms of, yeah, so because I tend to consume some homemade ghee in afternoon with my rice. That's something that we do. I think because good fat is definitely important, almonds
Right.
and uh, and
Walnuts, seeds.
walnuts. So we tend to, I tend to soak it, four almonds and two walnuts for myself and my entire family.
Right.
So that is something that we tend to have it first thing in the morning. So I think yeah, that is today you've really I think
Faridoon,
illuminated.
sorry to interrupt you. Even egg yolk is a very concentrated source of lutein, which is a fantastic essential amino acid. So you only get certain amino acids from egg yolk, and that has a huge effect on your overall well-being and dietary outcome. So there's no point. I mean, just uh, removing the yolk when we fry the egg. For you do that. I mean, we just fry 2 eggs and we eat
I,
that,
I
right?
I used to remove the yolk. So when I'm
Oh,
making an omelet, so I used to remove the yolk. So yeah. So I think now I think you've really opened the eyes in a way. So I think that this will surely be helpful. So Dr.
you can
Subhasree, I
go
think
ahead.
we
You can
can.
go ahead with the with the eating. I mean, no problem. 2 whole
Thank you
eggs
very
are
much.
totally
No,
fine.
thank you so much. So, Dr. Subhash, as you rightly said, I think we can discuss each point, I think, in detail. But we'll surely have more sessions, Dr. Subhash. I think because I genuinely felt that people tend to follow your tweets and threads and the wonderful creatives that you post. But maybe I think seeing you and listening to you can be, I think, helpful to a lot of other people. So I thought that I think we should do
Sure.
that. So thank you very much, and good night and all the best wishes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Faridun, for having me here. I hope we will be doing this more.
We'll
Thank
do.
you.
We'll surely do it, man. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.